And we're back. Episode 30, and the music gets me every single time here.
I know. So hype.
Well, hey, guys. Welcome to episode 30 of the Ryan Ripken Show. Round of applause, another accomplishment here.
Hey, hell yeah.
Big 3-0.
Big 3-0, baby.
Big 3-0.
Let's go. That's all thanks to you guys, by the way, who are watching. Wouldn't be here for the big 3-0 if it wasn't for you.
I know. This is kind of crazy. We started this again in July, and we've really started to pick it up the last 2.5 months. It's been great. We've grown on. We've had us two to start from the beginning. Then we had another guy, Zach, join across there.
I'm not going to lie. At first, when Brad said this wouldn't be done without you guys, the camera is also like, I'm behind it. So I thought he was pointing at me, and I was like, I mean, you're great too, Brad. I mean, I don't want to take all the credit, but.
I mean, I know. It's all good.
We get it. Well, we have Parker making another return real quickly. There he is. Parker, how we doing?
Good. Doing well.
Good. Remember, people want to hear that outside voice in here.
I'm doing well.
There we go. There we
go.
And you guys are probably wondering, we got another guy to our seat. No Rocco tonight, but hey, Steve Johnson.
There we go.
Steve down in here.
Nice to be here.
Steve is a Baltimore native. Went to the St. Paul school. It's just the St. Paul school.
Yes.
And he played baseball.
I did.
What?
Yeah, pretty decent at it.
Yeah, I did that.
You did that.
I did that for a little bit,
Here and there, every once in a while.
just a couple of years.
Dabbled in it.
So how many years of professional baseball, Steve?
14.
That's it.
Yeah, just a little. Professional's kind of it's one of those things where people throw that around a little bit. But you don't feel professional when you're in GCL,
Oh well.
Yeah. Okay. I see what
So
you mean.
when you start there, it's like, do you count that? You do.
I don't-
You do though.
I
Yeah.
don't think that people truly understand the dynamic. We're going to get into some dynamics of baseball here in a little bit. The dynamics of baseball when it comes to contracts, negotiations, systems, but then also the minor league system in general. I don't know how to explain it to anybody. There are people that will go off to Division I and play and then get the pro ball and feel like they took 7 steps back. And that's not an exaggeration.
100%.
You would have felt that you were playing in the fall, in the summer, like top tournament, AAU, whatever it'd be, and you'd be like, wow, that has more high stakes than when you're in a backfield, 12 p.m. games, no glory, 4 fans, and 3 of them are somewhat associated with the club that you're with. So that's what we're dealing with. But hey, we got a lot to get into tonight. We're obviously going to go with what's spicy. We have a few of those topics. So again, if you're new to the channel, thanks for stopping in. Like and subscribe. If you're back again, like Joe, hello, testing 1, 2. Welcome back. Hey, Joe, great job today. We expect those sales to keep popping up, though. But hell of a job, Joe.
Round of applause for Joe.
I don't know why Brad keeps getting those numbers right.
Brad is
Listen,
getting suspiciously close.
I was off by like what?
Like
3/4?
1.3.
Yeah,
today.
it was great. And like last week, I was off by 1.5. I
That's
don't know. Just maybe I should go play a lottery, I guess.
Yeah. Jesus.
You might. Well, hey, we're going to have what's spicy. Then we're going to get into a little bit of baseball, what's going on. Zach Britton retired for the Orioles. We're going to get into that as well as the rest of the baseball stove is starting to heat up. And maybe for Orioles fans, if you thought or didn't think the Orioles would be making moves at this point, we'll dive into that as well. And then obviously the NFL, it's buzzing right now. A lot
Business
going on.
is booming, as Antonio Brown would say.
Yeah. Doesn't it feel like Antonio Brown was on the Steelers like 15 years ago? A lot's happened for Antonio Brown the last 5 years, but we're not here to talk about Antonio Brown. Let's talk about what we're going to get into. Is that cool, Brad? Can we rock and roll?
Let's do it.
All right. First one here for what's spicy. Last Thursday,
We got duped.
We
We
got
did.
duped.
Snoop Dogg
Incredible.
said online that he was
Done with smoke.
done with smoke. And it was all a sham. It was all a ploy.
It's all bullshit.
Now
was all-
now looking back,
Mm.
why would you say you're done with smoke? Like the way he worded it is so perfect for what happened. Like looking back, I understand. I was like, I should have looked more into like done with smoke. Like who would say that? Like that's just a weird way to phrase it. Like I'm done with smoke. Like I don't know.
All right. Well, so here's what actually happens.
Yeah.
Just take a look at this because this is marketing genius right here.
Incredible.
Just take a look.
Announcement. I'm giving up smoke. I know what you're thinking. Snoop, smoke is kind of your whole thing. But I'm done with it. Done with the coughing and my clothes smelling all sticky icky. I'm going smokeless. Solo stove fixed fire. They took out the smoke. Clever.
So there you have it.
I mean,
Snoop's going smokeless.
Incredible.
Super clever.
Is that
Maybe
okay?
the most clever thing Snoop Dogg's ever done.
Like, yeah, just everything about it, like from a marketing standpoint, is genius because they had what, Thursday was when we first, so like 3-4 days have passed and people kind of forgot about it. And then Snoop Dogg doubles down.
Yeah, it made national news. Like NBC was reporting on this shit, and even Meek Mill
Meek Mill
got duped as well. So much so that he decided that he was going to quit smoke too. He said, "I'm gonna go to Dubai and completely stop smoking. I'm gonna follow Snoop. My doctor said I got a little bit of emphysema in the chest if I don't stop smoking. It cuts my lifeline in half. I was addicted to nicotine, and this new weed got too many chemicals and too risky to play with my mental." And then he got duped.
So that's the thing is Meek has a very heartfelt, like, you know what?
Yeah.
I'm inspired.
Yeah.
I'm inspired. I'm gonna give this up. And Snoop's like, oh no, hell, I just want a smokeless fire pit.
Do you think Snoop texted him like individually and was like, "Yo, just by the way," like, or do you think?
Yeah, because
Meek Mill
they gotta
found
have
out
each
like
other's
all
number,
of us?
right?
Just delete that real quick.
Right.
Yeah.
So
Because if Meek Mill found out the same way we all did, that would be, he saw that and was like, "There's no way." Like, I know he saw the video and was like, "What's he talking about? This fire pit, smokeless fire pit." I know he had to question deleting that, right?
I can't believe that he didn't delete it, to be honest.
Yeah.
well, maybe it was just for the best, but hey, I mean,
Shout out Solo Stove.
shout out.
First
Steve.
of all, they are dope, and that marketing ploy was genius.
Yeah, Steve, are we
Give that
buying?
guy a raise.
Are we buying?
Or
one?
girl.
I've had one. I had one on Kickstarter like
What?
4 years ago. Yeah,
Steve's been off. the
I've
smoke.
been I've been off the smoke.
Oh my
I totally support all smokeless.
Smoke or smokeless? It's a big difference. here, Steve.
Yeah.
Smokeless.
Goodness.
It
Goodness.
is. It does work too.
It does.
That's what
I'm
I'm
not gonna
so.
lie, I
curious
prefer the
about.
smoke.
How does
You prefer the smoke?
I like the smoke.
So
how
what
does that work?
Because
I
of
like
the
going back inside. You like sit down. You're like, ooh.
So it kind of
you want to take the
it has
smoke?
like
like
a double flame.
Yeah.
The way it's made has like a flame on the top. So once it really gets going, the first little bit when it first gets going, it's
Little smoke.
smoking.
Little
Yeah.
smoke. Okay.
And then once it really gets going after like
Yep.
a good burn and the wood's nice and hot, it's
Smokeless.
It goes straight up.
We're gonna send you the bill, Solo Stove, by the way.
That's incredible.
But nevertheless, guys, that was genius. That was absolutely genius.
That was
Moving on to
great.
the next one. Let's take-
Absolutely genius. You want to talk about smokeless, or bringing the smoke? Ian Rappaport, bringing the smoke early and often on Sunday morning.
Yeah.
And whether you disagree or not, so we have a little context here. We're gonna throw it up here. But Caleb Williams and USC lost another game to UCLA, big game,
Mhm.
and it was reported that Caleb Williams has elected not to speak to the media after the loss. And Ian held nothing back, just Ian from the rafters.
Yeah.
Joe Burrow learned his season was over, understood his responsibility, and went out and held a news conference. The job of a quarterback and face of the franchise.
Yeah, and actually, I also wanted to kind of share some comments that Mike Golick had on this. I want to get you guys' thoughts on the other side as well, because I thought they were interesting. I have some things that I agree with and some things I don't quite agree with. Let's listen, take a listen.
Ed, where are you on this idea of the criticisms of Caleb Williams' character starting to come into play because he didn't go to a press conference after this game?
I mean, it doesn't shock me at all. This is what happens now. You know, it's the building up and then the tearing down. You know, of he's going to be the number one pick, and then if anybody who's not going to be the number one pick, it's about building up. But if you're projected as the number one pick, everybody it starts to throw darts, right, as to why you shouldn't be, or why I'm going to tear you down, or why I think you're not good enough to be the number one pick. This guy's the number one pick in the draft. He's going to be the number one pick in the draft. I don't think there's any doubt about that, and I don't think he's going back to school, like he said, because he can make more money. He may not like who has the number one pick in the draft. He's going to be called. His name's going to be called. He's going to be picked first, and he'll go to some team. Does he have a little bit of a different attitude? Yes. Is he the first quarterback or player to have that? No. So, but that's what's going to happen right now. He's kind of a magnet, and some of it he brings on himself when he paints his, fingernails, F you to a team, and, he's kind of a showboaty guy. So that's going to come along with it. It's all great when you're climbing the mountain and you become the best quarterback in college football last year.
All right, so you kind of got the point of what he was saying. I said this last time, when he was crying in his mom's arms on national TV after that loss. I felt a little bit weird about it, and not talking to the media. You're gonna be forced to talk to the media when you're working for the NFL. That's just part of the gig. It's part of the job. You got and Mike was right on one thing, and that there's this build you up just to tear you down type of mentality. We see that all of the time. Not taking away from that at all, but with Caleb Williams, and it's most of these guys who get drafted are expected to be kind of on their quote unquote best behavior. And I wouldn't say that he's done anything wrong, but there's definitely some things that come into question when I'm putting my GM hat on and thinking about, okay, I want this guy to be the leader of my team. Does he still have those qualities when he's acting like this? Yes or no? I want to get your thoughts on that.
Well, first off, I think the funniest of this whole thing is that Ian Rappaport was the one that actually.
Yeah, that's what's craziest about all of it is nothing Rappaport really said was wrong. But what the craziest part of it was Ian Rappaport, of all people, was the one that tweeted this out. And it's Sunday morning, I feel like he should have a lot more that he's dealing with than deciding to take a random shot at Caleb Williams at 10 a.m.
Yeah, how's your weekend going? How's your Sunday morning going? Whammy. Well, for this is the reality for it. We're in a day and age where everything, no matter what, is going to be continuously monitored, right? Mm-hmm. And I do agree with the fact that we want to constantly, I don't want to say flip flop, but everyone wants more of a conversation, right? You want to continue to talk about the Lamar Jackson situation. If we're talking about recency bias here, right? The whole, is Lamar worth this contract? What's going on? It's going to be replayed, recycled. Caleb Williams won the Heisman last year because he was the best college football player last year, right? He was fantastic, but now with the expectations comes another set of expectations, whether right or wrong. He's going to be a top pick. And the reality is talent is usually going to draw a team to you. Now, I will say this, though. Maybe you guys can disagree with me. Maybe because recently what's happened with other quarterbacks like Zach Wilson, we're going to talk about later, of how you handle yourself is going to be more magnified. And for Joe Burrow's team was so elite and everything went LSU's way. I mean, Joe was the big reason behind it, but look at their roster that year. Caleb Williams and USC, there is a lot of holes at USC right now, but here we are again, drafts coming up. And no matter what, Caleb Williams cannot do anything right unless USC wins. And right now, it's the most negativity he's probably faced or adversity he's faced in his college career.
I mean, I think Golick hit the nail right on the head when he said they build you up, and then once you're the first overall pick, they're going to tear you down. They're going to find ways to be like, he doesn't deserve it because of this. Oh, what about this guy? This guy can do it better, because it's the cool thing to do is, who can be different? Why do I think he's not the number one overall pick? And they're going to look for every way to tear you down and make something small, like missing a press conference, into something big. But on the flip side, as Caleb Williams, don't give them the ammunition of skipping the press conference for however, after the rough weeks he's had. Knowing you're going to be the number one overall pick, knowing people are looking for you to do this. I know he did not want to speak to the media, and he's getting heat obviously for it, but I think it would have been, it's on him in the fact that he could have gone up there and just accepted that, yeah, we lost. This might be it for me. I'm not sure, whatever. Give the PR speech and get out, because I'd rather you give a stupid rehearsed PR thing of, teams doing, struggling as a team, that stuff. It's not on one person, it's on the coaches. Give one of those and get out. But not speaking to the media just fuels these people that want to tear you down. It gives them something else.
Yeah. I mean, Steve, I think we talked about this before. I think at the end of the day, if to be on that side, people just want accountability.
Mhm.
To be like, hey, if I sucked and I was terrible and or we didn't play well, I think
Yeah.
people just want to say it. I mean, we've been around the locker rooms. People respect that.
There's a lot of that PR speak that the media knows what they're getting.
Mhm.
They don't really make a big deal of the normal, hey, yeah, we played hard, didn't go our way. I made a few mistakes. Obviously we got to go into practice and get better next week. It's like, that's boring. And the media can't do anything with that. He's not maybe playing as well as he wants to play. The team's not maybe playing as well as they want to play. But you have to go in and do everything you can to not allow them to write anything else about you other than he's accountable. He goes and does everything he can for the team. He doesn't make a big, commotion in between weeks to, basically distract the team. That's all you need to do.
Oh, it's like Belichick, right? Like, we know what he's going to say when he gets up there, but he still has to go up there to show face, to take responsibility, whatever. Because at least then, to your point, Zach, they can't say anything about like, oh, well, you didn't show up and what have you.
I mean, just personally, I didn't even know USC lost. The only reason I knew that USC had already played and lost was because I got all these notifications of reporters putting out Caleb Williams refuses to speak or denies to speak to the media after loss.
Right.
So if he would just spoke to the media, it probably wouldn't have even been a story. A lot of people I would have looked at the score, been like, oh, wow, USC lost again, and would have never thought of it again. But because now it's this big story, it's, well, is he a leader? Does he take accountability? He turned it into a bigger deal than it had to be. They could have just lost, give your PR talk, tell, you're still proud of the boys for fighting throughout the whole year, stuff like that, even when we don't have much to play for. But it does feel weird, like you're just giving them more fuel.
I feel like sometimes I feel like if you're an NFL GM, you kind of want to see how they do when they fail.
Yeah.
Like you're going to most likely go to a team that's not going to do well in their first 1 or 2 years. I mean,
that's exactly my point. That's exactly my point.
They want to see you fail. How do you handle failure? How do you handle not doing as well as a team that you want to do? Most of the time, the teams that don't do well, who maybe have a bad defense or whatever it ends up being, the quarterback has great stats.
Yeah.
It's like, that's not all. Like, he has great stats most of the time in their losses. Like they're not doing well overall as a team. How do you handle that? He's not, I don't think, doing a great job at kind of keeping things calm and making people want to draft him.
I agree with you. I think that's going to be of the biggest takeaway from that is when you're at your worst or you feel like shit's in the fan, people want to see how you're going to respond. And you're right. I mean, let's just say if Chicago went in a different direction and took a quarterback, Chicago's organization for what they've done in quarterbacks over the last decades hasn't been stable.
Right.
And look at Justin Fields, and we'll talk about that game. I mean, Fields played well on Sunday. They lost again. And all we've heard about is that Justin Fields is terrible. I'm not saying he's going to be the answer, but if you think you're going to go into a situation that's going to be more stable than having Lincoln Riley, who at least has a track record of helping quarterbacks, you could be in for a rude awakening because it's no longer about NIL money. It's no longer about what's going to happen. It's, are you going to be the guy or not? And Zach Wilson found that out in New York. We'll talk about that. But switching gears then, because we want to keep it rolling, and talk about a guy that's had leadership, whether you like him or not, that continues to play at a ridiculous pace. And that's, we're on the NBA here. And the reason I wanted to bring it up initially is LeBron's having the best season at 38 years old.
Yeah.
Ever in NBA history. But I also love the fact that his celebration with Christian Wood is looks like you can be the judge of it. Do we have that?
We do, but it's actually not a celebration. I mean, maybe it is, but it was over a missed layup was what prompted this whole thing. So take a look here and we can react to it. There's LeBron. He's missed the layup. He's like blaming his hand, right? Picks up, smashes it on the ground, then goes up to Wood, passes to Ducci, and then they actually put it out on the NBA court.
Was he saying that's why he missed? That's why I'm confused about now. Because originally we just saw the first clip and it looked like they were celebrating, and then we found the whole thing like it's.
I don't know, but it was pretty awesome.
Yeah, no, I mean,
it was
incredible.
It was great regardless. Yeah.
Like, it was a great celebration, but then the context made me so confused what the celebration was brought out for.
How did he miss the layup?
I don't know.
Did he not get high enough?
Oh,
Hey.
Steve. And you think I have dad jokes, or I'm corny as hell. Look at this guy.
It's got to be a
I'm
baseball
just
player
saying.
thing.
that's awesome.
Maybe we just have really witty personalities.
Yeah, sure.
Hey, but you're damn right. But hey, but in all seriousness, LeBron James, the celebration aside or not, dude's balling out. You don't have to like him or not. It's irrelevant. He's averaging 26 points, over 8 rebounds, over 6.5 assists in his 21st season.
Yeah.
It's ridiculous, but I just love the celebration. Like, he's going out there, he's having fun. Screw it. He missed the layup. He did drop 37 points on the Rockets, but hey, just a quick.
MJ would have made it.
Hey, and that debate will continue. So we are going to, I see another comment. We'll get to that in a minute. But also moving forward, there's a group called Alloy Sports, and we're going to have a lot of betting models now that the NBA is finally starting to get going here. And it's going to be a lot of fun. It's because I don't know about you guys. I get stressed. I think I know what I'm talking about with games or situations. The history probably says not. There's a way with the models that we will share with. And now that the NBA season's getting going, got some really good things to talk about moving forward. So stay tuned on that, everyone. Moving on, though. Talk about, if we're going to stay in this context of maybe not the best look. We just talked about with Caleb Williams. Chargers lost again, Brad.
Yeah.
Once again.
Brutal.
And once again, Brandon Staley is at the podium, causing a scene about the game that I understand he's been under a lot, but why don't you roll it? Because once again, Brandon Staley is in the middle of an exchange after another disappointing Chargers loss.
Talk to the fan base. I'm here to talk to my players, the locker room. I know that we give ourselves a chance to win every single week with the game plans that we have, okay? And we have done it here. You guys act like we've never played good defense. That's not the truth. That's not the truth. You act like we haven't made any improvements. Today, in the run game, we played outstanding. We're rushing the quarterback well. What we got to do a better job of is in the passing game. And that's where our full attention is, and it's where it will continue to be. There were a lot of other things that caused us to lose today. It certainly wasn't our defense. It was the way we played as a team. We didn't play well enough on the red zone on offense. We dropped too many passes. Okay, we gave up a few killer sacks. Okay, we did this as a team. Stop making it about one unit, because that's not what happened out there today. Our team lost.
Okay, so I'm going to go completely back on what I said prior about Caleb Williams. Brandon Staley should have skipped the press conference instead of staying there. Because you cannot open it up by saying, I'm not here to talk to the fans. You are. Like, as much as you hate that maybe that's part of your job, that's a part of your job, is you have to answer to the media and the fans. And I think it's crazy that, he knows how much pressure gets thrown on Herbert and how much slander. And then he went out and just blatantly said, the biggest issue with our team right now is the passing game. And I agree. I think there are a lot of issues with the Chargers, but that doesn't scream a coach I'd want to play for. If I'm a quarterback who's under as much scrutiny as any quarterback, and my coach is going out there saying, well, if we were a better passing team, our record would be better.
Yeah, that seems like a guy right there that's worried about his job.
Yeah, he should be.
He feels like a Bill Belichick might be coming in behind him.
Oh, you don't say.
But hey, you never know.
Oh, that would be something. So I was just doing a quick little math here because we're going to talk more about, believe it or not, there was a football game that actually happened there besides the press conference. But the fact of the matter is the Chargers continue to find more ways to lose. Mm-hmm. And we'll get into that. And when you're the head coach and you're going out there and you're saying, Brandon Staley is a defensive mind. I think I was reading that they are the second highest paid defensive unit in the NFL. Mm-hmm. And they're at statistically one of the worst in the NFL. And they were one of the worst in one-score games in the NFL. Steve, that's not going to do it. It's not going to do it.
That's not. I don't know what you have to do as an offense when you keep putting up points. And the defense keeps allowing more. It's at some point you got to make a stop.
Yeah, that's the thing. He says they need to work on their pass game, and he's like, the run game improved. We're getting after the quarterback, which they just lost Joey Bosa, so that's not going to help in that situation. But it was just so surprising to me, just him knowing the amount of pressure that's put outside onto Justin Herbert. And then he kind of just added his own pressure. And it's like, that's not, I mean, like you said, Parker, that's a coach that knows he's on the way out and just trying to make it look like, hey, my defense isn't the problem.
And in what world is the defense not a problem when you're allowing 26 points a game?
Yeah.
Is that good?
That's not good.
Oh,
That's not good at all. And actually, Justin Herbert has been putting up some great numbers. Great enough numbers to win games.
Right.
And so
Yeah.
allowing 26 points a game is not going to cut it. And I'll say this too: Brandon Staley kind of put the blame on a lot of his players instead of just taking ownership. And whether or not drops were a problem or whatever, you don't just you don't do that to your own guys. And then to me, like that was just like another nail in that guy's coffin.
well, and here we are. The Chargers have scored over 30 points twice this season. Actually, they scored 34 and 38 and lost both of those games. So to your point,
Yeah.
I mean, the pass game just has to be better.
Has to be better. But hey,
Right.
I digress. The Chargers are 4-6. And that's just the way the cookie crumbles. And last thing before we move into a little bit of baseball talk. So everyone, hey, thank you for joining. Appreciate you guys being here. The injury bug in the NFL really took a toll.
Disastrous.
I mean, we can start on Thursday and we're making our picks. Mark Andrews gets to the goal line. We're thinking that was your anytime touchdown.
anytime.
And who cares about actually if he scores or not? Obviously, winning the bet's great. But the fact that everyone's excited, the Ravens are the bank's buzzing, Mark goes down.
Mhm.
And then
the bank was buzzing.
It was great.
It's amazing.
One of the loudest games I've been to.
Yeah. Amazing. And then all of a sudden you can just feel the air get sucked out for like almost the rest of the first half. I mean, it was still loud.
Yeah.
But Mark knowing he was out. Then Joe Burrow goes down. If we want to go down the list of other superstars from that, like Cooper Kupp left his game. Kenneth Walker has a legit oblique injury. And Steve, we know those things hurt.
They hurt.
Didn't you tear yours?
Yeah, you don't know how much you use your oblique until you tear it. Everything. Getting in the
Everything
car,
involves the oblique.
getting in the car, getting out of the car, waking up in the middle of the night. You got to,
Everything.
you got to
uses
go to the
oblique.
bathroom.
So
you get up real quick.
Can you give a little story time or context of how you hurt yours and I can tell mine?
Yeah, so we were in Houston. I warmed up a couple times. Freddie Garcia was our starter at the time, and I warmed up in the first, warmed up in the third, then finally got put in the fourth, and I think I tore it. Pretty sure I felt it. I was hot and ready to go, so I had felt something in my left side, and I was like, well, it feels good for now. So I kept going out there, and then eventually I couldn't throw outside to righties because I had to really get over that left side. So I left a couple up, gave up a couple homers.
Nice.
And then I struck out a lot of lefties though. But yeah,
humble brag. Keep going.
afterwards I started obviously getting it started wearing off. Pitched 2 innings though, and it didn't feel great after that. The next day was probably some of the worst pain I think I've been in, just because I feel like that whole left side, you really just don't realize how much you use that in almost every movement.
Yeah. Did you get a pop?
I honestly didn't feel pop. I felt like a burn.
Ooh.
I felt a good burn in the left side, but like I said, I was so loose, I didn't really feel it. I think I just kind of progressively made it worse by trying to pitch through it, trying to be a team player and
Team guy.
really make my life worse.
Team guy Steve.
And also I gave up a couple homers, so maybe it wasn't the best option. We were already losing.
Maybe not team guy Steve. Well, I know he was team guy Steve. Not when we're talking about burn, it's not like you're working out here and you're pushing through the last couple here. That's like, no, I can't really breathe.
I can't throw outside to righties.
Yeah, I can't throw outside the righties, but I can strike out some lefties. Shout out.
Yeah, that right side of the plate was really easy to get. Didn't hurt as much,
I was gonna say I got a pop. I popped on mine. I check swung on a fastball away. Checked my swing.
Okay, so they gave you the.
Yeah, and then I went, ooh, like I felt that didn't feel good. Tried to stretch it out, and then I swung in the next one. Felt like I just got, like it was like a stabbing right to the rib. based it up the middle. Ball came off the bat at 102. No
Nice.
big deal. RBI single. And then I was on the shelf for about 6 to 8 weeks.
Yeah.
It hurts. So Kenneth Walker, when someone said, well, he's a running back, the amount of movement and the balance and the core strength. So hearing it's a legit injury, I feel bad for him. But anyway, guys, like brutal. I know we got off track here, but the injuries in the NFL are really becoming a problem. At this point of the season, but in the last 10 days, Deshaun Watson and Joe Burrow are done.
Mm-hmm.
The whole landscape of the AFC is gonna change now with that. And now we saw in the NFC, Matthew Stafford missed time. Geno Smith left the game, Brad.
Yep.
Cooper Kupp left the game. And now you're sitting here going, is it just big coincidence? Is it?
Yeah, I don't know what you do about that. I think it's just
Well, how many starting quarterbacks because of whether it's bench? But there's been a lot of injuries.
as of last week before this week started, there was 47 different starting quarterbacks, which is a league high since the merger. Yeah, crazy on the quarterback situation, and now all the quarterbacks suck for the most part, save for maybe a handful. And so, like, you just expect going into most of these games, and we've actually talked about it this season. It almost kind of feels like a lost season. You got one or two games that you're really looking forward to, but when it usually is like 5 or 6, you're like, damn, this is going to be a good matchup. But, we talked about it, I think it was like 2 weeks ago, where there's only like 1 or 2 games we were really looking forward to that week. And the rest of them were just kind of like, well, we don't really care what happens here because there's nobody we know, for one, because most of these guys are out. And then 2, it's just kind of like the competitiveness, like there hasn't been good quarterback play out there for the most part, generally speaking, in the league this year. Well, and now the fact of it is, for the Bengals, your chance of really anything is down the drain. The Brown, like, there's no reason. Listen, the Browns. Well, we're going to get into that in a second. Stop traffic. I'm sorry, I shouldn't have said that because January Joe might be upon us.
January Joe might be. Hey, so we're going to dive into that, but injuries are a real thing right now in the NFL. But it just sucks for the product. It sucks just seeing guys missing time. We're talking about it. And actually, the big game starting in about 30 minutes. Eagles, Chiefs. I mean, that's actually exciting because you have Mahomes, Hurts, 2 great teams. They're on the field. That should live up to the billing. Should be a great game. But for a lot of other games, like that was the other thing that was disappointing with the Ravens. You lose Mark Andrews, a star for the Ravens, and then Joe Burrow goes down. Whether you wanted I talked to some people, they're like, man, I kind of wish the Ravens just would have beaten Joe. Yeah. And it took that energy. And then it felt like, well, the Ravens just can't lose this game now. Mm-hmm. And that stinks. I'm a guy, I like to be entertained. I want the team to win.
Like you said,
I hate injuries.
It went from a must win to like, you can't lose this. Like going in, it was must win in the fact of like getting that 2-0 edge over Joe Burrow and them, expanding the AFC North lead, stuff like that. And then Burrow goes down. It was like, okay, like you have to win this game now. Like now this is just a lost opportunity to just beat up on Jake Browning.
Which he actually did. He looked
good.
Valiant effort for him. Valiant effort for him.
I will say this. I'm excited to watch him play. He made some throws.
I swear to Christ, it's always like PJ Walker.
I am a huge fan of giving the backup some give him, let him ball. Yeah. Well, I think mostly I want to see him ball out because I can then.
How excited were you that Cooper Rush came into the game this week?
Oh my God, Cooper Rush, just an all-time, just bad. Like every time he's out there, they would somehow win games, but you're like, this is not because of Cooper Rush. Like that's what I love about it is like when the team just throw the quarterback play out the window and it's like, let's see what happens.
Whammy.
I feel like a lot of teams have lost to the backup QB.
That's why I love it.
The Ravens did. The Ravens lost up to Minshew.
We lost, and then
Kenny Pickett,
and Kurt Watson, and
Kenny Pickett.
Yeah,
and Kenny Pickett. So I mean, as much as the backups are a problem, the teams are still losing to them.
It's big. I mean, Josh Dobbs has made a living off of it now. He moved around, and now Josh Dobbs, besides
Dobbs, nobody said this yet. He's like the new Fitzmagic.
He is. I love it.
You heard it here first. Yeah. The new Fitzmagic is Josh Dobbs.
Hey, everyone's rooting for him. Everyone's pulling for the guy.
You got.
Maybe that's where my love for backup quarterbacks came from. Fitzmagic. That might be it. Like that was the first I first tried backup quarterbacks, like, you know that, and then it was like I couldn't get enough of backup.
Well,
quarterbacks.
maybe you're too young for this, but mine was actually when Anthony Wright for the Ravens came in and beat the Seahawks in whatever
That was a
that
great
game
game.
was in Baltimore, down like 3 scores.
No business winning that game.
Zero business. Zero business. That was electric. Tyler Huntley would have had that moment at Cincinnati in the playoffs, but something happened. But anyway,
tried to test his vertical.
It was good. It was good. Sorry for bringing that memory up. But hey, we're going to dive into a little bit of baseball here, and we're going to jump right back into the NFL because a lot of things happen. But a lot of things are happening right now in the baseball world, meaning in the last week, we saw obviously a lot of awards be given out. There is free agency and moves are starting to be made. But I think the first news for all Oriole fans, Zach Britton, Orioles closer, 2-time All-Star, retired, former teammate of Steve Johnson, 12 years in the bigs, retires, had one of the best seasons in Orioles history for a reliever, one of the best seasons for a reliever in really baseball history, if you want to look at it that way.
2016 went 47 for 47 saves. That had a nasty sinker that year that was just absolutely unhittable. I believe, I don't remember actually who described it, but I do remember it being described as like trying to hit a cinder block. So yeah, just that was an incredible year, 2016 for Zach Britton. And then of course went off to the Yankees because that's just what Orioles players do.
And then changed how he spelled his name.
He did?
Right? Yeah. He went from the Orioles to the Yankees, he dropped the H and went to K. As a fellow Zach, this was big news in the Zach world. We all got a memo. Yeah.
Well, we learned something
Yeah,
today.
he was ZACH on the Orioles and ZACK on the Yankees.
Well, now it makes all tons of sense. But hey, Steve, you walk us through a little bit. You spent time with him. You got to see. You really got to see. You were teammates for him for a while.
Yeah, good 4 or 5 years. Yeah, what was great was seeing how he kind of evolved into being a reliever. I was with him in Bowie when I first got traded over here. He was futures game, obviously dominating. What was, I think, frustrating, it was awesome to see, but frustrating from a I guess teammate as a pitcher. I was like, I want that pitch. It's so frustrating as a fly ball pitcher, seeing him get 2-0 on guys throwing nasty sinkers, then just throwing that next nasty sinker and getting these easy double play balls right back to him. Was very frustrating, but obviously he did awesome with it. He was a great guy. And then seeing him evolve from going and having some injuries, battling through it, trying to figure out what was going on, and then coming back, trying to figure out how to be a reliever, getting the opportunity and just absolutely running with it, kind of reviving his career. Because I think in really 2012, when I was up there, we were kind of, as starters, being shuffled back and forth. It was me, Arrieta, Britton. He had some good starts. He had some bad starts. We were just, all of us really were getting pushed around. And finally, he got healthy, figured it out, got some extra velo as a reliever, which is always a nice boost when you don't have to go 6 or 7. Started throwing 97 to 98, 99 mile an hour.
You guys had that same problem, though.
Yeah, obviously. Yeah.
Give or take 6
Give
miles
or
an
take
hour.
10.
It's gotta be maddening to know, like, you get 2 sinkers and you're 0-2, and you know that you're getting the next one, and there's nothing you can do about it. It's gonna drive a position player absolutely insane.
But I'd rather be more pissed if I was up 2-0 and I'm like, why? I'm in the driver's seat, and then I'm still gonna break my bat. And ground out, and I'm going to go to the dugout, and then if whatever part of my bat's not broken, I'm going to break the other part of it. Like, that's essentially what's going to happen.
Right.
And for Zach Britton, to give context of that 2016 year, he had a .54 ERA and was the 11th in MVP voting.
I don't know how he didn't get Cy Young. How did he not get Cy Young that year?
He should have.
I think since 2003 is the last time a reliever, we talked about it earlier, since the last time a reliever has won it, and that was Eric Gagne for the Dodgers. And we had this conversation. Could Felix Bautista have possibly done it because he had similar numbers? I think the only thing that hurt Britton that year, especially, he just wasn't a big strikeout guy per se. But does it really matter if you get guys out? He struck out 74 guys in 67 innings. He gave up 38 hits.
Yeah.
Are you kidding me?
You can't. I don't really think you can explain how devastating that sinker was. I think most guys expect the sinker to really fade a little bit. It kind of fades away and down. Is most of the time what guys are used to hitting. His went straight down. And that is just not a common thing from a pitch going 97, 98 mile an hour. And he really didn't have that crazy wipeout slider or anything. He literally had a sinker, and it was awesome. It was great to watch. Obviously, the 2016 season, he just ran with it. And when someone's on a hot streak like that as a pitcher, you're feeling it. No one can touch you.
In 67 innings pitched, he gave up 4 earned runs. That's insane.
And in 2 years, he gave up a combined 2 home runs.
Yeah.
So
also, I'm looking at the what's it called, the Cy Young final. He did get some first place votes.
He just finished. He was 4th in the Cy Young year, though.
This was really, we gave it to Rick Porcello. That was the guy that we were given.
Hey, a good pitcher, but that was the thing is it's starting pitching now as taking control of it overall,
right?
And that's what they're going to go to. I mean, Kyle Bradish not being nominated, that we could be here for hours again, but I digress on that.
Okay, I see now. I was looking at voter points. I thought it said Rick Porcello only threw 137 innings pitched, and I was like, this was the guy we gave the Cy Young. He pitched 223. This makes more sense.
Yeah, let's calm down over there.
I was like,
Classic.
what?
Classic. Parker, thank you for that chime in.
Yeah. I was curious though, like as a reliever, you're watching a guy like that, just get real dialed in. You got like front row seat. What's that like?
I mean, you as a team, you feed off of obviously good play, and they were doing well that year. I wasn't with him in 16, but obviously I saw him pitch well before that. But I was on the team with Jim Johnson, who also had a great sinker and had back-to-back 50 save seasons. So it's like you're around guys like that all the time, and I think knowing those guys on the team and how good the bullpen was at the time when they were there, you just want to get to the 9th inning. Like, and obviously when you're 8th inning guys O'Day and your 7th inning guys Brad Brock at the time, you just want to get to the 7th inning.
Yeah.
And when you can shorten the game like that as a starter, even as a long guy, when you come in the 3rd inning, which 3rd or 4th inning, the starter goes out, whatever happens, it's like, I need to keep this close to the 7th. And with the offense that they had, they were always in the game, 1 3-run homer, and they're right back in it, and they get to the 7th, 8th, and 9th. And I think that was just a great thing to have as a team, knowing that you didn't have to do it all. You had to do your job, get to obviously they had the top guys, but when you have that guy in the bullpen, it's just a comforting feeling knowing when you do your job, you're almost good to go.
Cool.
Yeah, it's having a guy like that's why everyone loved Felix Bautista too. It's like, oh, Felix is ready to go now.
Yep.
And different style, because Felix, like, I have a bowling ball that rises on you and you know it's coming.
Yeah.
Best of luck. Brent Rooker even talked about it. Brent was like, I knew it was coming, and I usually after a hitter I can say I swung at a bad pitch or it fooled me. He's like, I don't know what to do. And that's exactly when those types of guys were on, like Zach Britton. If he throws his pitch like he does, you got zero chance.
Yeah.
And that just rips your soul out. And I had my soul ripped out a lot, not just from.
I mean, it literally is one of those things where like you fouling it off is best case scenario. Like
it's a win.
Yeah. Like you're just hoping he makes his pitch. You can know it's coming and you foul it off. And I feel like it's like, all right, didn't miss. Like you're just like, okay, that's cool.
I also think the saves part where he in 16 when he didn't blow a save, I don't think people realize as a sinker ball pitcher, he got a lot of swinging bunts, like full swings, singles that just get right through the hole. As a sinker ball guy, you're susceptible to giving up some hits in a row just due to those swinging bunts and balls that just don't go to anybody. And the fact that he was able to get through that without going, having any blown saves is also pretty good, because the strikeout guys are great. They're, you get yourself in a jam like Bautista does sometimes in terms of a single here, a walk there, and then all of a sudden 3 Ks. And it's easier to do. I feel like it's easier to get out of jams doing that.
Oh, it's easier when you strike everyone out.
Yeah.
It just makes it so much easier. Talk about a guy that people are wondering could be the next star pitcher coming to Major League Baseball, and it's not American. It's not Ohtani, which we've seen. Yamamoto. coming over. And officially, while we're bringing this up, is that his window to be signed from Japan is officially open, or will open, I think, tomorrow morning,
8
Tuesday.
a.m. Santa's coming to town.
And teams will have 45 days to be able to sign him to a big league deal. And I'm sorry, O's fans, I don't think it's going to be in Baltimore, but it could be a team in New York. And just to give context before Brad to go into this,
yeah,
he's had a Triple Crown run over there in Japan as being the top pitcher.
I was going to ask, if it's not going to be the Orioles, obviously, then where you said potentially New York. Do you think it's because he's going to command a heavy price tag? I mean, because look, we as big of fans that we were of Fujinami, there was an adjustment period, and I still don't know how I'd feel about him as a starting pitcher. Do you think that there's something to be said for actually not spending a ton of money on this guy because of that? Do you see a New York team, or do the Dodgers go after this guy just because of the name and what he could be capable of, or do they look at what happened with Fuji and kind of be like, give them pause? Is what I'm trying to say.
Well, I think it's also dependent on how well you've performed over there too. Like Fuji went to the A's because there was talent there, but there was still going to have to be an adjustment, right? Like Yamamoto over there is not just like he is a talented pitcher. He's the best pitcher.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And what I'm saying about his Triple Crown, for those that don't know, it means wins, ERA, strikeouts. And he's been that guy over there. He has not had an ERA higher than 1.68 in 3 seasons. He had 205 Ks last year, 206 in 2021. This year he only had 169.
Slacker.
Yeah, honestly, seriously. What was the most Ks you had in the year?
155, I believe.
And how many innings pitched?
145.
Okay, over 1
As a
inning. There we
starter.
go.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
The strikeout pitcher.
But to answer your
somehow.
question, sometimes.
Somehow. I don't know. Just throw it up there, see what happens.
But to answer the question, a team big league teams and teams that have money to spend, this would be the moment too. And it just feels like a big market team's going to go get him.
I don't think it's going to be the Yankees after what happened with Stanton. Did you see? So I want to say it was Cashman came out last week, and pretty much said that they don't expect Giancarlo Stanton to ever play a full 162 because of this stuff with his injuries. And they're like, he's just bound to always get injured. Well, Stanton's agent had a very nice rebuttal, pretty much saying, hey, look out, all free agents. If you go to New York, they don't care about you. They want you to be perfect, all this stuff, and pretty much warn teams signing with New York.
Well, to be fair,
Well, here's the thing.
Go ahead.
He's Yamamoto's agent.
Oh, no.
Oh, shit. So he's definitely not going to the
Yeah,
Yankees.
well,
And I was
probably not going there.
And honestly, too, and maybe I didn't do a good way of prefacing or hiding this, like the Mets were in a weird position because they were interested for a while, but now they're in a rebuild. So the Mets was an interesting place, and that was linked to for a while. Cashman and the Yankees had been watching, but if you burn a bridge, you burn a bridge.
Yeah.
And then you could then look at LA being a possible destination. Regardless of it, it's going to be a hefty sum to get him.
Well, I mean, and Steve Cohen has a shit ton of money, so he doesn't care about spending it. But that is crazy. Look, I will say, this past season, watching Giancarlo Stanton run was just brutal. So,
Well, here was the big thing. In his statement, he said he's warning all free agents, both foreign and domestic, about signing.
God.
But that was in his statement about signing.
That
about
is crazy.
how it hurts them physically and mentally, and you can never let your guard down in season or off season.
Well, that should be great to see that unfold.
Yeah.
Not that anyone's feeling sorry for the Yankees with that, but it'll be interesting on that front. Yamamoto is going to be one of the, besides Ohtani, he's probably going to be the prize possession that teams are going to go after. Ohtani's in a special realm for the amount he's going to take. But how about this? Some other names came off the board, guys. Aaron Nola going back to the Phillies.
Took less to go back.
And I mean, Steve, we talked about this. This is no surprise. When people were saying, well, the Orioles going to spend, this is not a contract that they were going to give out.
Yeah, I mean, I think we were just trying to think of different guys they could go after, and I think he was one of the guys we threw out there. And then we saw the I think they were having some contract issues a couple weeks ago where they said they were far apart. He was asking for like 200 something, and I sent you a text, and I was like, we might not be the guys for him.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's tough. I think it's going to be really tough to get guys who are good enough that you want to make that next step and then pay the contract that they want. So you got to see where they are with that.
Let me ask you this question, though. Would you rather see the Orioles sign one of their young studs and extend a guy like Grayson Rodriguez, Gunnar Henderson, Adley Rutschman, or go out and get a starter like this and spend that money elsewhere? Because that's where it's going to come down to. If the Orioles aren't going to spend the big bucks on that, and then other cases like Lance Lynn signed a 1-year deal, Ronaldo Lopez, a reliever, signed somewhere for $30 million. Quite frankly, people are concerned about Gunnar Henderson, Grayson Rodriguez. So what would you rather them do?
Well, I mean, if signing one of the someone else comes to the, chance of you not signing one of your hometown guys, I would say that we might not sign anyone else. Like that would be my opinion, but I hope that's not the case. The thing is, I think that they have a couple years before they need to really do that. I mean, obviously everyone wants to do the early extension, make everyone happy that they're going to be around forever, but they're so young that they have 4 or 5 years before that's going to even come up. Now you risk having them become absolute superstars and paying them a ridiculous amount, but some of these guys maybe want to feel that they are good enough to make it 5 years or 4 years playing at a really high level and take that risk. So they have to want to sign the early extension. So
I think that's something that fans forget about, is that the player also has to agree to that contract. So many fans will be like, why aren't the Orioles just signing them now to like a 10-year extension? It's like, well, if I'm Gunnar Henderson and I'm seeing the way I'm playing right now and my projections of where I think I can be, if they're like, hey, we'll give you 10 years, 150 million, so we can just get this baby done with. It's like, I'm sitting there going, 4 years, I could be making $350, $400 million. Like, so there are two sides to it.
Oh no, of course, everyone has to agree to the deal.
Yeah.
But again, I don't blame anybody, and it's to the point. If Gunnar Henderson's agent, and I was just about to make that point, James.
Yeah, but I was just
it's Scott Boras, and Scott Boras is going to get the most out of any team. Like that's what he's known to do. But also, if you're a guy like Adley Rutschman and your window is closed, Adley's going to get one chance at a big contract.
Yeah,
one. And if I'm him, I'm not going to take a discount. It's not that I don't love Baltimore, but as your livelihood, you got to take advantage of that. Gunner's a guy you could have, but Scott Boras again is going to say, no, we expect you to be one of the top players. I think you're an MVP. We think he's going to be an MVP. So therefore, why would you sign it? The baseball world is weird, ladies and gentlemen. We're going to save that for a different conversation because it takes so long to get to it. And then you're almost paying, just like for any sport, you're paying hopefully for their success of what they've already had, not what they're necessarily going to do for their future contract. It's wild to see. Probably not as wild that, I guess it's wild, but that the Oakland A's are leaving and don't have a stadium for 3 years.
It's ridiculous.
So people that didn't know that story, Brad, Oakland is moving. That's been approved.
Correct. Yeah, there's going to Vegas. So yet again, unfortunately, Oakland loses yet another team.
But this is the thing that kind of it's like it's the Band-Aid's not getting fully ripped off because
this is the worst possible scenario.
Because where are they going to play those games?
Yeah, so they're playing half their games in the Giants Stadium.
Yeah.
So they're splitting the Giants Stadium, and then they're playing the other half in a minor league stadium.
Their AAA team, correct?
The AAA team, and so it's just like, I'm sorry, A's fans. Like you just gotten like the worst. Like we always thought that as Orioles fans, we kind of got the short end of the stick oftentimes, especially during those rough years post 97 all the way up to around 2012. It was rough. There was a lot of protests. Okay. It wasn't great to be an O's fan around those times. 30-3 game. Still remember that. Probably remember that for my entire life. But the way that the A's fans have gotten, and really Oakland in general, right? Like there is no other fans like, Raiders fans in Oakland. And like to see this happen to A's fans in Oakland, it's just brutal. I mean, I don't know how else to describe it other than it's just brutal. And I feel so bad for the way that they showed out last year to try to protest it as well was just like falling on deaf ears.
Yeah, I mean, that stadium is, I will say, I mean, you play at the Coliseum.
I have.
Did you like that stadium?
The stadium was terrible, but the fans were they were when I first went there in 2012, they were good. Like the team,
They were
was
very good. They were a very good
and
team.
the place was actually one of the coolest places to play. I forget, was it Balfour?
Yeah.
Who was pitching? It was the closer at the time. When he came out, it was wild there. So I mean, the fans when they were able to have a good team to support, I mean, sometimes you don't like the place to play because of the amenities and the actual stadium, but other times you like going to places because of the atmosphere. It's like it's fun playing in a place like that where the fans are in it and it's loud, and that they did that. And it's sad that they didn't get the stadium to go with it.
Yeah, and right now the Oakland is at the earliest that they could possibly play in Vegas, or all that being done wouldn't be till 2028.
And I think what's even weirder is they're still in the Coliseum this year. So they're moving. Everyone knows they're moving. They're homeless for 3 years. But then they're like, okay, A's fans, you can still come and come watch us. We're not going to try to put a good product on the field, but one last time, come. And it just, I almost would have rather them make this whole announcement after the deal's officially, like they're out of the Coliseum and everything, because now this is just another insanely awkward year in Oakland of the team's now officially, like this year we knew it was happening, like it was gonna eventually come to fruition, but now it's just like it's a done deal. They're moving and now they're playing. This just happened with the Raiders however many years ago, where they had to play a year in Oakland knowing they're already gone. And it's just an awkward feeling for the fan base.
Yeah, I mean, and everyone, just to wrap it all together here in context, it sucks for the fans because they care the most. They invest in this team. And the players, to your point, Steve, the players appreciated the support of the fans. Like it truly sucks. But I also do want to point something out here for everyone that was worried about Baltimore or the Orioles going to leave. That's actually what was going to happen for Oakland for all this time. So like when you put it in context, the Orioles are going to stay in Baltimore. They're going to. Oakland, it was going to happen. It was just a matter of if. The decision wasn't going to change. It's a reality, but man, woof. Brutal for A's fans. And unfortunately, they're probably going to be one of the worst teams moving forward in Major League Baseball. Hey, I think that kind of wraps up our baseball talk. I know we got going a little bit, but it's fun. We're talking a little shop here with Steve.
Yeah.
But a lot happened this weekend, guys, in the NFL, and we wanted to make sure we get into that. And are you guys cool if we start with the NFC?
Let's do it
to kick this off.
Yeah.
I was very invested in this Lions game for multiple reasons, mainly fantasy related. And that was one of the worst games I've seen Jared Goff play as a Detroit Lion, at least in the first.
I would say just ever.
In the first 54 minutes of the game.
Yeah.
Yes.
And the Lions were down 12 points, I believe. They had turned the ball over 3 or 4 times, and the Bears had the ball for 40 minutes. And yet the Detroit Lions get 2 touchdowns in the last 4 minutes, sneak out a victory, and once again, Chicago finds another way to lose, and now the Lions are 8-2. The Detroit Lions are 8-2 right now, guys. I mean,
you can't actually believe them. Like, they're not an 8-2 team. Like, obviously, your record is what is what it's. You are what your record says you are.
They are who we thought they were.
Yeah. I feel like we just keep having this conversation with the Lions where they come back against these teams that the Bears, then they play 2 good teams, get blown out. And it just, I don't know how I feel about them because they're so young and exciting and I love watching them play. And then, like you said, for 54 minutes yesterday, that was as bad as I've ever seen Jared Goff play football. I mean, he was throwing it right to the defenders.
Straight to him.
Yeah. And I mean, they even, I want to say on their second to last touchdown, the play before, Jared Goff threw what should have been a pick six, and Jalen Johnson jumped the ball perfectly, hits him in the hands. If he catches it, it's 98 yards to the house, and he just dropped it, and they scored next play. So the Bears had so many opportunities to put this game away.
Yeah, but who cares? Do you guys want to see some Dan Campbell action?
Oh,
yes,
well, obviously.
I mean, is that?
Guys, holy shit. We are a resilient team, gentlemen. We are resilient. We're going to find a way to win. They freaking came out and they fought us, but we fought harder. And we went and got the win. That's outstanding. That's division win number 2. I got one game ball. Give me this. All right, hey, listen, to make the rally that we did and to come back, man, we needed some stops. We get the stops. Offense, we go down, we strike. We need another stop, we get the stop. Hutch, where you at, brother?
I'm so proud of everybody, man. We got the shit done. Man, I'm really excited about this year. I'm really excited about this year. I think we're going to do some special shit, especially with the adversity we just dealt with, how we overcame it, man. So to keep pushing week by week. Let's go.
First of all, Hutch was an absolute beast that game. So he deserved that game ball. But Dan Campbell, we made the stop because we needed to stop. We won the game because we need to win the game.
He just gets so fired up for football.
It's amazing.
I love it.
I love Dan Campbell.
In his DNA. Like, I don't think he was made to do anything
I don't think so either.
except
Like last year, that after they got pummeled, he went to the meet the other head coach, and he was like ecstatic. He was like, "That was a bona fide ass whooping you just gave us," and he was like fired up, and he was like, "My God, was that insane to watch?" He was like, "Every part of the game, offense, defense, coaching, you whooped our ass," and it's like he just loves football. He doesn't care if he's the one who loses. He's like, he appreciates good football.
Yeah, I think he's just real. Like, that's like actually who he is, Parker.
Yeah,
like that, what you see with Dan Campbell is what you see behind the scenes and on TV. I think like his interviews himself, in general, it's got to be the number one soundbite in the NFL.
100%.
Yeah, he's kind of like the new what you're looking for as a head coach, like getting the boys riled up, the Antonio Pierce type. Maybe not the best X's and O's or whatever, but he's getting the boys obviously very riled up there. And you love to see it. I am a little just looking through their schedule, like they haven't beat really anyone except for the Chiefs in an early season game. And I'm just wondering if this is just another Viking season where they go, they have 14 wins. The rest of their schedule's not that tough, frankly. And just be interesting to see if this is like, going to come to something or just kind of like another dud.
How many
like the Vikings had?
How many teams do they play that are over 500? How many do they have left?
They got Minnesota twice.
Yeah, who are 6-5, and then the Cowboys, who you just never know. But
And that's a big game at the end of the season. I think
And they got the Broncos too.
Oh, yeah, and the Broncos are coming up.
Yeah, and you just never know with them, right? Like
They're getting it together.
They're on the
just never
longest.
know.
They're on the longest win streak in the league right
Have
now.
you heard of Mr. Unlimited?
No,
Danger Russ?
Oh boy,
Danger Russ.
I wanted to bring back
Hey,
the Subway commercials.
Let's ride, guys. Let's ride.
When they got
Ride.
rid of them, bring those back.
Yeah.
They were so. You want to talk about cheesy or corny? I want those back. That energy there is amazing. But hey, you know what? You know what I feel for the most in this situation though is that Justin Fields came back, clearly made a massive impact, threw for 169 yards and a touchdown. Some will say, "Well, is that doing a lot?" He didn't turn the ball over. Besides that fumble at the end, it's 25 seconds to go. Hutch beat the right tackle there, but then he ran for over 100 yards. I mean, Fields legit did everything he could have done. In my mind, in his first game.
Mm-hmm. No, he did. He played great.
But
that's what you're looking for. You get your starting QB to come back and play well, not turn the ball over, not get injured again against a really good team. It's just unfortunate the way the game ended.
That's the way the cookie crumbles here. And I want to make one note before we move on from this game. I'm on Ross St. Brown. It's not just because he's on my fantasy team. Dude is balling out. I think he's the most underrated wide receiver in the NFL right now. And the reason why I'm bringing up this moment or context, do you guys know this? He's missed one game this season. I'm on Ross. Okay. He missed one game. Every game that he has played, he has either scored a touchdown or gone over 100 yards receiving for the season. And right now he has 6 games over 100 yards receiving. So I'll repeat that one more time. Every game that he's played this year, a touchdown or over 100 yards receiving. And I think him and A.J. Brown are the only two, at least on a streak, where Amon-Ra, I think, just broke his streak of 4 straight games of over 100 yards. But Amon-Ra has 5 touchdowns on the season and 6 100-plus yard receiving games. Guy's a stud. Dude is a beast. But, hey, I digress. Love him on my team. How about down in Washington or Landover, Maryland? It's not technically Washington. But Tommy DeVito gets the first win of the season. And you know what the wild thing is? He became the first Giants quarterback since 2020 to throw 3 touchdown passes in a game.
I love every time they cut to his family.
You're
like
the Sopranos.
Yes, literally. I'm just like, this is incredible. Like, it feels like it's just a Sopranos episode where they're like, yeah, Tommy's playing in the NFL.
Hey, you know what? Great moment for him, because who knows what the situation's going to be. But if you're the Washington Commanders, what the hell happened? Like, honestly.
It wasn't Sam. I can tell you that much.
No, but I mean, that
defense fell apart.
What did you expect? They traded everyone.
And they had 6 turnovers.
Well, they traded everyone. But Sam Howell, okay.
Turnovers.
Sam Howell statistically went off.
Okay.
A lot of that came in, like, what's it called? Just
garbage time.
Yeah, garbage time.
They threw.
I was trying to give the guy some love.
I know. Sam Howell's done a lot of great things, but the fact of the matter is, he had 1 touchdown, 3 picks, and they also had 3 fumbles. They turned the ball over.
Listen, by Sam Howell standards, he went off.
The Commanders turned the ball over 6 times.
You know, I can get behind that.
The Giants scored 31 points against the Commanders. The Giants before this had trouble scoring, period.
Yeah.
And then they go and went, and they were 10-point underdogs or 7-point underdogs in this game going in there.
Yeah. Hey, Parker, what was that game that we asked you how many yards they had? Who was it against? The Jets, right?
Oh my God. You made a fool of me. He had 7 yards passing.
the whole team.
Giants, Jets game.
The whole team.
I think Darren Waller led the team in receiving with 4 yards.
Yes.
Yeah.
What a time.
Big game.
Good stuff.
And just to give context here, these are those last games. The Giants are coming off a game where they lost by 32. Then they lost by 24 to the Raiders. Lost to those Jets that can't score a touchdown. And their last win was against the Commanders, where they scored a whopping 14 points.
The thing is, they should have won that game if they had 7 yards passing.
I know.
They should have won it. They blew it in the last minute.
But hey, Tommy DeVito, great moment for him. And I wasn't kidding. He is the first Giants quarterback since 2020 with 3 touchdown passes. And they did sign a quarterback for the Giants to a huge contract in Daniel Jones. And it still hasn't happened since Daniel Jones has been.
Yeah. Darius Slayton ate that game too.
Telling you what, man, maybe it's changing. Maybe, hey, the Giants are still fighting. It's still a dumpster, but I know a game you'll be excited about. They play the Patriots next week. So talk about.
Oh, yeah.
What a matchup that we're looking for. Hey, we talked about Brandon Staley earlier, guys, but a football game did happen besides Brandon Staley's rant. Jordan Love played really well at home.
Yeah.
Packers got a win. And I know the Packers season's probably on the is kind of down the drain.
On the bubble.
Well, yeah, they're trying to survive. The NFC is weaker. Aaron Jones is probably going to miss time, maybe the whole season. Jordan Love, this game was great. And the Chargers were not. Keenan Allen, 2 drop touchdown passes. Austin Eckler fumble at the goal line. Quentin Johnson, big drop at the end of the game. I feel bad for Herbert. I really do. But I think the story more for me is that Jordan Love actually deserves some love.
I feel like he's been up and down this year. I feel like there's a couple games where he's played in where they haven't done anything in the first half. Like they really kind of put them in a hole. And then he's able to really kind of regroup and get the job done in a way in the second half. I just feel like for him, this was more of a complete game, which, maybe he can build on. But I think that's been the frustrating part, at least watching from a fantasy perspective. You watch in the first half and he has 0 to 1 points.
Oh, we had a segment where we talked about the Packers had a a stretch of 5 games where they had 6 points in the first half.
Yeah,
9?
I want to say it got all the way up to 6 games, like, or they added like 3 more points the next game. Like they could not score anything in the first.
But
half.
it's not just the
Yeah,
quarterback
it's not
play
just
either.
quarterback.
It's Aaron Jones is usually better than he is.
Mhm.
AJ Dillon has been way better in the last 2 years. I feel like he's been almost non-existent, which is odd. Just he's
I mean,
usually
their
a
offensive
touchdown
line is
machine.
horrible.
It's definitely got to be frustrating because as a QB going in your first full year really as a starter, you obviously want to.
Yeah,
He's been waiting for this moment for years behind Rodgers, and now it's just kind of up and down. So we'll see.
Hey, it has been up and down, but it was up last game. 322 passing yards, 2 touchdowns, no picks, and a 67.5 completion percentage. So trending up.
Yeah, and actually there was a play that Pat McAfee and AJ Hawk broke down that I thought was absolutely insane. And Ryan, these are the reasons why we actually liked Jordan Love going into the season and really like him being the next franchise quarterback and what he's capable of. And need I remind you, 2-time MVP also went and had a losing season before he got out of town and went to the Jets to tear his Achilles. So I'm just saying that, there isn't a whole lot of playmakers. There isn't a whole lot of household names on the Packers to really give Jordan Love his flowers. But this play that Pat McAfee reacted to is absolutely insane. Watch this.
Are you celebrating with the Green Bay Packers or all the way back? Jordan Love made some throws yesterday. There's just one where he's rolling to his left. He does a Zach Wilson pro day throwback through some 2 people's arm. Look at this. This is one of the nastiest throws I've seen from maybe the best angle this could have absolutely have been with slow-mo in there. There's moments of greatness in every game, I guess, has been the narrative about Jordan Love. What did you see from him yesterday, and what did you learn about this Packers team? Are they back? Ty's all the way back in on him, AJ.
Yeah, I mean, watching that throw that we just showed from the TV copy was crazy enough. Like I knew how difficult of a throw it was, and then seeing it from behind, how he threads the needle. Like there's not a ton of guys that can actually make this happen, especially in a game. So Jordan Love has this, but yeah, how do we find a way to consistently do it? He played a hell of a game. He really did. And all these guys, I mean, that's Wicks right there. Wicks had some big time catches.
That was like an insane throw, something you can't coach, you can't teach. And those are the kind of glimpses that I look at. And there's been a lot of drop passes. We've documented that on this show from Jordan Love. So I'm not going to place the blame all entirely on him. But I mean, imagine if Devontae Adams was still on that team. I think we would be having a much different conversation about Jordan Love at this point in the season.
Yeah, Christian Watson, though, too. The guy, I mean, he's supposed to be the number 1 wide receiver. It's been non-existent. He had one game where he had 91 yards, and I'm pretty sure 60 of those yards came on one passing play. Since that game, he has not gone over 37 receiving yards. And if he's supposed to be your number 1 option there, that's rough. So Jordan Love is really trying to find a way, and he didn't have Aaron Jones for a long time, and then Aaron Jones gets back, and then he gets hurt. It's so facto, Jordan Love's proving that the talent's there. Now it's just going to be, can you put it together? It's all about putting it together, right, Steve?
Consistency.
Consistent. That's all we want.
Yeah. Also, I feel like you're, as a quarterback, unless you're some great scrambler, you're only as good as your offensive line.
No,
it's exactly right. I mean,
and a guy like Watson needs time to get open.
Yeah, and most not everyone's gonna be perfect at quarterback unless this Sunday you're Brock Purdy, which kind of leads into that situation. And Brock,
damn good.
Hey, Big Cock Brock is back.
Big Cock Brock is back. The 49ers are back.
They're back. And Brock Purdy was sensational, talking about being perfect. 333 passing yards, 3 touchdowns, 84% completion percentage, and the perfect passer rating. He had that beautiful throw to Ayuk to really open up that second half. He did everything. He was surgical. And I think even having Christian McCaffrey talk about how frustrated he gets that people don't give Brock Purdy enough credit. I mean, it seems like they forgot that last year he was undefeated as the starting quarterback.
Yeah.
And then he had that game, he got concussed. They were down a couple big starters, and all of a sudden, everyone's down on Brock, and all of a sudden, they're back to just annihilating teams. In his last 2 games, Brock Purdy, 6 touchdown passes and over 600 passing yards. No picks. The dude's back.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All the way.
Oh, yeah. I mean, he just does. He's not going to do anything that jumps off the screen and you're like, holy crap, he's a top 10 quarterback in the league or anything like that. But this is just what Brock Purdy, if you have Brock Purdy doing this stuff, they're unbeatable. I mean, you can use his weapons as a way to, I guess, make him look not as good. But at the same time, you have to get him to the weapons. I mean, he is just as good as managing the game, making decisions. Like you said, finds Ayuk on a beautiful pass to really just open it up in the second. He still has to make those plays. You know, just because they're there, we see quarterbacks miss those type of plays all the time.
Yeah. I mean, talent, you can have all the talent around you, but you got to be the one to go execute. Like you have to. And I think that grinds my gears so much. We've talked about teams being talented in any sport. I mean, we were just talking, I know it's differently, but weren't the Padres supposed to be the best team? Weren't the Mets supposed to be the best team this year? You got to go walk the walk. And at the most important position in the NFL, no one's walking the walk more the last 2 weeks than Brock Purdy. There's a reason why he was considered an MVP candidate before that stretch.
It's a weird schedule too for the 49ers going into the stretch here. They got Seahawks, Eagles, Seahawks. So that's just, I hate it when they do that. It's just like every other week you're playing the same team.
Yeah.
So I'm going to say they're probably going to, the Eagles game's something that I certainly am going to have circled. They're probably going to split that Seahawks game because they're both, whenever you face a team twice that close, in my opinion, it's always tougher to beat them the second time around. I would be surprised if we saw them sweep them. So there's potential for them to lose at least 2 out of those 3 games. And then it's Cardinals, Ravens, Commanders, Rams. Now, I will say, when you're looking at the 49ers and what Brock's been up against as far as defenses are concerned, the Cowboys, I think, is a bit of an outlier as far as the rest of the season. But those losses they took were against the Browns, the Vikings, and the Bengals, all with decent defenses, and at least at that time they were. So that's going to be something interesting moving forward when you have the Eagles that have a stout defense, unbelievable defense. How Brock Purdy is gonna fare, and then obviously you have the Ravens, best 1 or 2 defenses in the league. The rest of the season isn't going to be too much of a challenge for them. Those are going to be some games that the 49ers are going to have to watch out for.
Yeah, I mean, I will say that Seahawks game, if Geno Smith doesn't play, the Niners are going to win by 45.
Yes. It's also a Thursday night game.
And if Geno, it's Thanksgiving night, everybody. Yeah. And we'll ask for some fantasy advice for what I should do with not having Kenneth Walker. It was always kind of going to be a question mark going into it. But anyway, I think it's safe to say the 49ers are still on that. It's Eagles and Niners and then everybody else. And you could say that it's the Niners or Eagles. Doesn't matter to me. It's not going to hurt my feelings. Those are the 2 best teams. We're trying to figure out who 3 and 4 are. All right, that's the NFC. AFC, let's just get this over with. Talk about ripping the Band-Aid off. If you watched the Browns-Steelers game, I'm so sorry. That was terrible.
Atrocious.
That was the worst game of the weekend. There was one play that's worth noting, and it wasn't the game-winning field goal. It was that Jalen Warren housed a 70-yard touchdown. Other than that, I don't think that there couldn't have been a worse offensive game all season. Actually, the Giants-Jets game was bad, but that at least had bad weather. There was no excuse, Steve, in Cleveland.
It was just ugly. I did watch it all the way through. Red zone.
You couldn't stay away, could you?
Yeah. Well, I was trying to figure out as a Ravens fan who do I want to win, and it was hard. It's hard to figure out who I wanted to win. And then no one seemed to want to win. So
they really didn't.
Yeah.
I was rooting for a tie by the 4th. Like midway through the 4th, when I think it was like 5 minutes left. It was a tie game. I was just
these are all the Kenny Pickett's passes. I just can't wait till the 30-yard line gets wide open.
Oh no.
These are all the passes he attempted beyond the sticks yesterday, and you can see
nothing down the middle.
Nothing.
So if you guys were able to watch anything, Dan Orlovsky talked about it well too, and they were asking him a question: is it the quarterback? Is it the system? And he said it's going to be both.
Yeah.
The system for the Steelers is terrible. It's very vanilla.
Just throw it here.
There it is.
Oh yeah.
There it is.
Oh baby. Nailed it.
But also, Kenny Pickett is on pace for the lowest touchdown percentage in relation to the amount of passes he's thrown, Brad.
Yeah, that's correct. So, where I just lost my spot here. Hold on a second. There we go. So,
and it's
since the merger, maybe it's like last 40 years, it's been a long time. The least percentage, smallest percentage, which is 1.9% of the time he's throwing a touchdown. That is the lowest percentage out of any quarterback throwing 500 passes or 500 pass attempts or more. So that is just an absolutely ridiculous stat. So less than 2% of the time, it's a touchdown pass for Kenny Pickett.
I hope that CBS got some sort of fine for playing that game on national television. Because, Steve, like you, I was watching it on one screen, I had Red Zone on the other. It was just bad football. Like, everything about it was bad. Like, even the refs, like, we were missing safety calls. Like, there was just all around, besides Jaylen Warren, he's a stud. But besides that, it was just everything was just like 3 and out. Up, first down, 3 and out.
Yeah. How do you not get a guy like Pickens the ball?
That's what
How do you not get him in the offense?
I have
like
no
that
idea.
should be your main priority is open up the run game with Warren and Harris, however you want to do that, and throw to Pickens.
What did I say about Kicking and Screaming, the movie? What was the game plan?
Get the ball to the Italians.
Get the ball to the Italians. In this case, get the ball to Pickett. Just get the ball to your best players.
Also, let's just
at least a couple times.
They need to. I don't know what Najee Harris has on Matt Canada, but there is absolutely no reason that man should be getting the 50-50 split for carries with Jaylen Warren, because it's been happening the past, I think it's 2 or 3 games. And like the stats are, it'll be like Jaylen Warren, 13 yards a carry, Najee 3.2. But they'll be like Jaylen Warren, 12 carries, Najee 13. And it's like, it makes no sense.
I'd like him to continue maybe getting a couple carries in there. No reason at all. But,
okay, for other reasons, I want Jaylen Warren getting more carries.
Listen, on the other side of the ball, there's some special news that came out for them.
Oh, yeah. That's right.
Oh, baby.
And that the Cleveland Browns have signed Joe Flacco to the practice squad. And listen, it couldn't come at a better time. There is no better time to have Joe Flacco on your team when you are headed into the playoffs than to have January Joe, one of the best quarterbacks. So look, this pains me because we could be seeing the Browns in the playoffs as a Ravens fan. But let me just run down a couple of things from Joe Flacco. Is for those of you who are Browns fans, what exactly you're getting when it comes to January Joe. Okay, there is few quarterbacks that have won more playoff games than Joe Flacco. Of course, Tom Brady is up there, who's won 30 playoff games, and then it's Joe Montana, Terry Bradshaw, Peyton Manning, Joe Flacco.
Sounds pretty elite to me.
I mean, I think the elite discussion is over in that case.
He's thrown for over 4,000 yards in the postseason, 25 touchdowns to 10 interceptions, and obviously an MVP in the Super Bowl.
Elite.
Love it.
I mean,
love it and hate it.
I'm glad we finally got a Cool Joe back in the AFC North. They were putting that fraud out there for a while with that nickname.
Yeah,
Joe, bro. That did sting a little bit.
Yeah, I didn't like that.
There's always a next Cool Joe.
Yeah.
Listen, Joe Montana was the original Joe.
Oh, he was.
Exactly. That's what I said. There's always the next one.
Yeah, there's always. I just didn't want it to be in the division.
This is the crazy thing, by the way, for Flacco is
Flacco.
The best year statistically he had as a starting quarterback in the regular season was in 2014, which he then won a playoff game, and the Ravens were up 2 scores in New England in the divisional.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Thanks.
Was that Trestman? That was Mark Trestman's year. No, that was Gary Kubiak.
That was Gary Kubiak. Justin Forsett of the big year. He threw 27 touchdowns to 12 interceptions. But just to give the context, Joe has played in 15 playoff games. So the equivalent of one season, Joe has 25 touchdown passes, like you said, Brad, to 10 interceptions, including that one year in 2012. Chef's kiss, 11 tutties, 0 picks en route to a Super Bowl and a massive contract. And I think he went to Mickey D's or something like that, McDonald's after. Whatever he did, shout out him. I kind of hate seeing him in Cleveland, but I think it's the best thing. What you got? I know you're thinking something over there.
The saddest part about this is that he won't be coming back to Baltimore. He won't get the ovation he deserves by the people that love him most.
Well, also, if he comes back, do you think that they boo him in a Browns uniform?
No, absolutely
No,
not.
no chance.
You
No
can't.
chance.
They
No
booed him
shot,
in
no.
a Ravens jersey.
Okay, that is. Although we might finally get to see all those fans that wanted Joe to come in for Lamar. They might get to see Joe versus Lamar in the playoffs. So
That would be wild.
That would
man.
be
I
insane.
mean, the crazy thing is he's coming into a team. They're 7-3,
he just doesn't
which
have
is
to.
wild.
His only job is don't lose the game.
That's what I'm
Yeah.
saying.
He's got a good D.
It's
Watch
which is
out.
used to.
Joe gets in the playoffs.
It is a great situation for him.
Yeah.
and I hate it.
I know.
I don't like. I don't like it.
Good
I
run
like it.
game.
I root for him, but
Good.
not anymore.
It's a good run game, even without Chubb.
This is
Good
just,
offensive line, and they have Amari Cooper. And then they also have Elijah Moore and Njoku. If
Yeah.
we thought that Joe Flacco liked Dennis Pitta a lot, he is going to love David Njoku. Just throw him. He knocked over 20 Ravens in that game against
Yeah.
bulldozered. But okay, here's the thing. Can I ask you
With
guys a
his face
question?
burnt
he's
off.
back on the
Yeah.
2012 Ravens. He's literally look at
all-
that.
Can you make a point of that? Njoku's a warrior.
Yo, this dude's a beast. He was like adamant about playing a football game with no face.
So those
Yes.
who didn't know, he had a accident. His face got burned.
Off.
And people thought like, oh, okay, he's playing. It can't be that bad. It was horrific.
Yeah. It does make you wonder, will he be the next solo stove endorser?
Oh, the smokeless.
You know? Save my man.
Safety.
You know, let's get David and
if you're watching
Joku,
this, you need a marketing agent right
Yeah.
here.
don't think the
JPP.
smoke
Just
was
get
the
all
issue.
of the people that
JPP.
are victims. Just, they're all around the solo.
Solo has the biggest range. Of
Oh
just-
man.
I'll say this. It baffles me a little bit if would the Jets actually be possibly having a winning record if Joe is still on the Jets. Obviously, Aaron Rodgers is going to be the quarterback, so why would you bring in another veteran? But as soon as he went down, I don't get why the Jets did not go and make a call to go and get a veteran. Because here's the Browns. They just started Dorian Thompson-Robinson. I want him to do well, but he has not looked like he could be the answer for you through the first two games. Granted, he has played the Ravens defense and the Steelers defense. That's a tough ask.
Yeah.
Now you got to go play the Broncos defense next. But the Jets season, it was the first week. The Browns are sitting here going, we don't want to risk anything. We know Deshaun's out. Why not go get a guy that could be an insurance policy? Who knows if Joe's going to be the guy?
He will.
He better be.
I think the Jets should have just went back to the Wildcat.
It
Their
would've been
offensive
better.
line might not be great for passing the ball this season. I don't think a guy like Joe's going to outrun anybody, and
No.
they need somebody. At least Wilson could run around a little bit.
Well, speaking of that, so for anyone that didn't know, the Jets are terrible on offense. It's awful. And now it's been official. Zach Wilson is benched, and not even benched. Bench. He is not.
We're not
Robert
letting this
Saleh-
homie dress.
Well, no, they said that he will be up, but will not be the official backup
Yikes.
for the game. So he'll be the
He's the
emergency
emergency.
quarterback.
I would never wish injury on anyone, but if Zach Wilson finds his way into a game being the emergency quarterback, like this is the first year of it, and Zach Wilson, like the week after being benched, that's how he finds his way. Like that would just be such a Jets thing to happen. Like both quarterbacks like stub their toe on the sideline. They're like, we can't go anymore. Zach Wilson has to get called up mid game, leads them, and then he gets the team back.
And here's the thing: the Jets coming out of the bye, we're feeling good. They're feeling really good. And then all of a sudden, they're feeling really bad. They have losses now to they got blown out by the Chargers at home, lose to the Raiders where they could not score a touchdown, and then they get smacked. They haven't scored a touchdown, guys. And if I'm doing this math correctly, they haven't scored a touchdown in the last 3 games. So I feel for Zach. It sucks. But I also feel the Jets, if they wanted a better plan in place, they could have done that. And I appreciate loyalty. Loyalty is cool. Loyalty is neat. I'm all about that. You wanted to believe in him, but outside that one Chiefs game and that win against the Giants, which was ugly as hell, that might have saved his career for 2
Yeah, we were
games.
talking about that earlier. I think that was like the worst thing that could have happened for the Jets was them that miracle comeback where Zach Wilson played atrocious all game.
Yeah.
And then he 25 seconds left, gets a penalty that allows them to stop the clock, just some miracle crap. Then the other they won that game in the last minute and then in overtime against a team that, Parker, how many yards did they throw for?
7 yards. That's so many.
And we're not even counting the net
And
yards.
that's
Not even the net.
And that's
Yeah.
what we are considering Zach Wilson won the team back with.
But do they really think that they're better with Boyle?
No, I just think they needed someone else out.
I
No,
know,
they're
but it's-
they
they're
just
starting
mentally need-
Simeon. Actually,
Oh, they are still in
They're starting
No, I think-
Simeon.
No, it's starting
I thought-
Boyle.
Yeah, Boyle, at least this week, Boyle is the starter. Simeon's the backup.
I don't know where I saw that, but I swear I saw that.
I think
Simeon was
he's
the starter.
expected to kind of like eventually.
They might throw everybody in there, but you
Yeah.
know who's not is Joe Flacco. Could have been Flacco.
Could have been.
And that's ironic because of the connections that the Ravens had, or Flacco had at the front office being in there. But hey, the Jets, they're now scrambling. That's a good defense. They got smacked, but I think when your team continues to not score, you're sitting there going, "What the hell is going to happen?" We kind of felt that way with a team out west, team that maybe thought that their quarterback was dead in the water. Maybe.
I'm telling you, high knees fix anything.
Parker, you know what I'm talking about out there?
No, I have no clue.
Mr. Unlimited? Danger Russ? Guys,
Keeps getting it
The
done.
Your
danger
boy.
witch. The danger witch.
guys,
Your boy.
the Broncos have won 4 in a row. They were 1-5, are now 5-5. Are they going to mess around and make the playoffs?
Yeah, so they're on the longest current win streak in the NFL right now, and it's funny because speaking of the Jets, Nathaniel Hackett was, highly there was a beef between him and the head coach for the Broncos, Sean
Payton.
So Sean Payton comes in, shits all over Nathaniel Hackett. Obviously, it looks as if Hackett just can't hack it, and Sean Payton's on the other side laughing. He talked his shit, and now he's kind of backing it up as well.
Yeah, you know what's crazy is that would you have thought after the Broncos gave up 70 points,
Yeah,
70 points
to the Dolphins,
since that game and barely beating the Chicago Bears.
and they made no
And
moves.
losing to the Jets.
Well, no, they traded
and
people, which
losing
is
to the
crazier.
Jets.
Yeah,
Which is even crazier.
Nuts.
This wasn't like they gave up 70, got players back where they traded.
They got rid of Randy Gregory and Frank
they
Clark.
traded like some of their better players on that defense and just let like young guys go in there. And I guess they're just super hungry going out there trying to put on for the city.
yeah.
And here's this: since that since that loss to the Jets at home, they held the Chiefs to 19, the Packers to 17, Kansas City again to 9, Buffalo to 22, and now the Vikings to 20. They have now become one of the best defense, and they're taking away the football. And during this 4-game win streak, Russell Wilson has 7 touchdown passes,
Dog.
0 interceptions. I know they might say the yardage is down, but he's led now 2 straight weeks of game-winning drives. Wild. Like, seriously, now they play the Cleveland Browns in Denver. And I can't tell you how hard I'm rooting for Denver.
Well, Joe
Parker.
Flacco's going back to Denver next week.
He's not starting that game.
He's still going back.
I do want like we're
second half?
giving Russ a lot of credit right now. Cortland Sutton is making some of the most insane catches I've ever seen. That game-winning touchdown last night was insane. And then the week before, he had that toe drag that was just ridiculous. So
5 straight games with a touchdown.
Cortland Sutton's putting on for the city. I've said putting on for the city twice in 5 minutes.
Put it on for my city.
So if you're going to take this, then we're to switch gears. Then Broncos are now, they're right in the thick of it. Guys, who do you trust more? And this might sound like a weird question because who would have thought this a month ago? Just came to my mind. Who do you trust more? The Denver Broncos or the Miami Dolphins?
Denver Broncos.
Oh, damn! I didn't even have to think of
No,
So-
because
maybe a little too quick.
the Denver Broncos beat the Miami Dolphins in the playoffs. Like this happens right now. The Broncos win.
This is the wild thing to me. Can we imagine that this was not going to be a discussion, but the Dolphins survived against the Raiders? I know that they're playing better and they're inspired, and we're buying. Jimmy Park, you brought up Antonio Pierce. He's got the boys fired up. But the Raiders almost went to Miami and won, and now Miami, after the Raiders loss, has still not beaten a team that's over 500.
Yeah, that's why they barely beat the Raiders, because they were 5-5. It was just too close.
All right, what do you guys think? Denver or Miami? Who are you taking?
I mean, I got to go Miami just with the offense, but I don't feel good about it, which is weird. Like you said, it's a harder question than it should be.
Yeah, it feels gross. It's definitely the Dolphins.
Well, but
the Dolphins have not beaten a team over 500, correct?
Yeah,
that's correct.
That's still the case, right?
Yep.
Right.
Yeah.
So they could beat Denver. Denver's 500.
So, but here's my thing: if they play again, Denver, literally last time they played them, had 70 hung on them. Do you understand? I just feel like
that's what I'm saying, which is nuts.
Yeah, it's nuts, and that's why I think is part of the reason I'm so in on Denver is I think that there would be that extra chip on their shoulder throughout that entire week of we need to go prove that that's not who we are.
I always think of it, if I have to put money on it,
if you have to,
it's Miami. Like that's where if there's if that's my confidence level.
Okay,
now,
well,
if I'm throwing like shot in the dark
played?
money line, then yeah, sure.
Oh, mile high.
If it's in mile high, give me Denver -7.5.
Oh, Jesus.
Oh, my goodness.
Yeah.
Okay, let's calm
All
down
right,
there.
now we can move on.
Yeah, seriously. And in these wins, by the way, for the Broncos, minus they beat the Chiefs by 15. Their last 2 wins, actually the last 3 of the last 4 wins have been by a combined, let me do the math, 5 points.
Dang, they didn't even cover the 7.5 there.
5 points in 3 of the last 4 wins. Their biggest margin of victory was against the Chiefs. They won by 15.
Okay, so maybe they'd win by like 3.5. I'll take it. You know?
They might, but it's crazy that we're
really
having
ugly too.
It's crazy that we're having this discussion, guys, because of the different change of it, and we'll just move into this as we get close to wrapping up. But what is happening in the AFC? We're watching and monitoring right now this Eagles-Chiefs game. I know we're keeping people. Maybe you're watching 7-7 right now. But who is who? The Jags are playing the Texans for first place this weekend coming up. The Ravens, there's no reason for them not to win with having Lamar Jackson at quarterback.
Correct.
I don't know what to make of the rest of the field. I'm looking at this. Buffalo is still dangerous to me with Josh Allen. I don't. I know you're shaking your head. I think he's still dangerous, but
he's dangerous for both teams.
Yeah.
Like, I agree. No, he's one of the biggest threats, but I have not seen anything from him this year that makes me afraid to play Buffalo, because if you stay in it right now, it seems like he will almost give it away. Like, you just have to wait out for Josh Allen to think he can just toss it 70 yards deep to Stephon Diggs in a big moment and just Geno Stone. Keep it close, though. He'll
And their
beat
defense
himself.
isn't as good this year as it has.
Well,
been in
yeah,
the past.
they're without Matt Milano, and so there's a lot of injuries on that side of the ball.
Their defensive stats before Matt Milano went down and after is actually insane.
Yeah.
But middle linebacker is not a position of value, apparently, is what I've been told.
In apparently it's in games of, we're talking about higher end teams for the Dolphins, to give that context. They have not scored more than, if I'm doing the math again correctly,
So much
20
math
points.
for Ryan.
They lost by 28 points to the Bills. They scored 20. They played the Eagles, only put up 17. So I'm just saying, this high flying offense. Jalen Ramsey looks like a beast.
Jalen Ramsey's
he might be the
play that he made at the end of the game yesterday, where he got the wind knocked out of him. Like, what the hell?
They're going to need to make more plays like that defensively for Miami to win, because just right now, the Dolphins, if it's not facing a team that they're supposed to win, and I agree with the point.
He was all over Devontae.
Miami's beating the teams that they need to beat. I agree with that. They are, but the problem is that, at least for the Denver Broncos right now, Denver's beating teams that they probably aren't supposed to beat.
Yeah. And the thing
here they are.
My biggest thing about Miami is, like, yeah, they're beating the teams that they're supposed to beat, but none of those teams are the teams they'll be seeing in the playoffs.
And what are they? They're 5-0 at home, I believe. I believe the Miami Dolphins are 5-0 at home. I'll tell you right now, they're 5-0 at home. They're 7-3.
Yeah.
So they need to be at home.
Mm-hmm.
So
they need to get a top 2.
They're 2-3 on the road, 5-0 at home, but none of those 5 wins have come against a team over 500. We're going to find out a lot.
We also know that, to that point, You beat the teams you need to beat. You beat some teams in your division. You get to the playoffs. Anything can happen. Like that's always the story. Now, defense maybe can hold its own a little bit in the playoffs here and there over like the top offenses. But at the end of the day, you need a good top offense, and no one wants to face them. And no one wants to have to face Tyreek and Waddle and that offense, and maybe with their healthy running backs. No one wants to. No defense wants to face that.
Next 4 games for the Dolphins: Jets twice, Commanders, Titans. You know who they finish with? Cowboys, Ravens, Buffalo.
They're going to go 3-3, and they're going to go 3-0, 0-3.
Guess we'll find out. Last, as we can just close this out.
Write it down.
And we're going to see what happens with this game tonight with the Chiefs. Obviously,
Yeah.
I'm still a big believer the Chiefs are going to win this game. I
don't know about big believer on this side of the
we
table.
know you just can't count out the defending champs, man. You can't count out.
I'm
the
not
team
saying
that's
that
been
you
the
should.
best.
I'm just saying that
I feel like we've seen this story before.
offense hasn't been great against good defenses, and I don't know how the Chiefs haven't exactly been great against winning teams either this year. So,
Well, Parker, how this has been? I feel like this is where the Chiefs are becoming the Patriots again.
The Chiefs are becoming the Patriots as in a dynasty.
Yes.
We're going to see right now. I think this game right here is going to tell us a lot. And then I think, moving forward in their season here, how are they going to close things out? What do you think?
what's their schedule for the rest of the season?
We got Raiders, Packers, Bills, Patriots, Raiders. So they should. I think they got to take care of business here.
Yeah.
Clearly,
If they win this game and they have 2 losses, they might lose 1 the rest of the way. I know we're split on different. You think Raiders steal 1 from Kansas City?
I think
Kansas City wins by a million.
Yeah, versus the Raiders.
both
I think
games-
the Bills might give them more.
The Raiders,
more of a problem.
the Chiefs beat the Raiders in both games by a million. That's what you're saying.
I think that they win it pretty handedly. Aiden O'Connell, I think, takes 10.5 sacks per game.
They lost to the Broncos. Just saying.
They did.
They did.
But it's
They lost. That's it. They lost.
Broncos are hot.
That's the tweet.
But
The
the
zombie
Broncos are the
Broncos.
best team in the NFL right now. 4 games in a row. They're hot.
They're the
Now.
zombies of the NFL
Now.
for sure.
I'll tell you what, I actually believe Denver's going to win this next week against Cleveland. I digress. I'm praying. That would be a massive
Wow.
win. But the Chiefs, they win this game.
Yeah.
They beat the Eagles. They're probably going to be the 1 seed again.
Who do you guys like? You like the Chiefs this game?
I do.
I think Chiefs are taking it. 7-7.
Yeah,
I say Eagles.
it's gonna be Eagles.
I'm going Eagles as well.
I'm also will say I'm making my decision off of my real quick, kind of keeping along with that. I feel like the Eagles have been stopping the Chiefs offense 2 out of 3 times so far.
Okay.
So
Well, great. So
and actually the Chiefs are only moving the ball by running it right now, which is not really what they want to be doing.
well, you can say that Mahomes has 33 yards. Hurts has 39.
Oh, but the Eagles are a run first team.
You can never win with this. Okay. All right. I think we need to get the hell out of here.
Got him. There we go. End it with a dub for Zach. What a day for Zach.
No.
Actually, I guess we got benched by the Jets. But Zach Britton
I
retired.
mean, it's a day.
Yeah.
Say if it was a good day.
I will say, we didn't even talk about this. So I want to bring up that Tyson Chandler successful punt, the fake punt. That was electric.
I love
It
punts.
is awesome when it's your team. It sucks.
That's the most demoralizing thing when you think you stopped a team and they fake punt you with it. That is horrible.
Yeah.
You know what? I love the acting job by the punter in that situation. Like he
Like
went
he
all the
actually
way
sold
left.
Yeah.
As a fake
We had
punter,
another one too. We had a throwing one.
Yeah, in the Jets game.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah.
That's right.
Morstead. Yeah.
Best
And that
pass
made-
they had
that-
all day.
That made the that made the difference. In the 26 point.
It actually was like
All right.
when it happened, I was thinking that.
Get the,
All right.
get the hell out of here.
Okay, we're done. Hey, for everyone that tuned in, thank you so much as always. Steve, thank you for being
Thank
here.
you, Steve.
man.
Appreciate you guys.
Thanks for
having me.
being here. We'll be back. We're going to check our schedule. We might be back on Wednesday. It's Thanksgiving, so we will not be doing the live show then. But you guys enjoy your family, enjoy your friends. Thank you for joining us. Hit that like and subscribe on the way out. But we will see you next time for episode 31 of the Ryan Ripken Show.